The Christmas season arrives for each person at a different time. For some, it's immediately after decorating the tree, right after Thanksgiving. For others, it's hearing Christmas music on the radio for the first time. For us, however, it's seeing our favorite Christmas commercials on TV. In this episode of the show, it's a jingle brawl, as some of the best Christmas advertising of all time goes head-to-head for all the mistletoe. Don't change that dial. Ho, ho, ho. This is Wayback Attack.
Welcome to Wayback Attack. My name is Brian Grantham, and sitting across from me is my own mistletoe, Preston Burt. Preston, are you ready to unwrap these presents I got for you?
I am, if those presents happen to be some of the best Christmas commercials of all time from the 80s and 90s.
They do happen to fall into that category. So I am excited to give you all this bundle of joy that I have.
Yes. My friend, I know you're immersed in Christmas because you're part of the retail world. So they're probably playing Christmas music nonstop for you. But is there a point in the season where it like hits for you, where you feel like, oh, now it's finally Christmas?
You know, when you're building up to Black Friday, it starts getting there. This year's been different though, because I was like, nah, Black Friday is going to be nothing. And so, based off how the rest of the year has gone. But I think after Black Friday happens, you know, you are busy nowadays. You're busy that next week because of, Cyber Week.
Yeah.
You know, it was Cyber Monday and then now it's Cyber Week, but, and so you're still busy doing things for that. And then I guess like now is the time where it's like, okay, now we're going to get ready for Christmas, and you get a little bit more downtime, and you have where it's not as crazy. But like from here, like after this week, this is like the calm before the storm, because next week it'll start getting busier, and then the next week, you know, and then it's Christmas. And so you always think it's not going to be that crazy busy on Christmas Eve. You'd be shocked how many people are like, I need this thing, and I waited to the very last second, and I'm mad at you because you don't have this thing that I need.
Yeah.
So.
Well, for me, you know, I talked at the top of the show jokingly that it's not Christmas until we see our favorite commercials. And that's part of it, because for me, it's not like any one single thing flips that switch of now it is Christmas.
Right.
But it's a combination. And I got to tell you, we were kind of in the sweet spot for feeling like it's Christmas time for me. I was driving to your house. It's cold.
Yep.
There's Christmas lights out. You know, in Georgia, it's not always cold in December.
Right.
So it's got to have that feel. So there's Christmas lights out. I'm jamming to a little Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays from NSYNC on the radio, and it's just like, oh wow, Christmas is coming.
It's your best friends.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny because Does 10 has it right. He says it's when the weather goes from 70 degrees to 35 degrees overnight. Because it was like that. Like I was just like, man, I can't believe it's still so hot. And then it was like, I think it was like right before Black Friday.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it finally feels like the holidays.
Yeah.
Because it was so hot. Going like I was just t-shirt, you know, outside, no problem. But now I need a coat. And so that's how you know.
Yep. Well, Brian and I were talking a little bit earlier about how one thing that we really hate for our kids is that, you know, we appreciate the technology of how streaming works, and you're able to pick a la carte things that you want to watch when you want to watch them on demand. There's so much variety these days, but I'm a little remiss that our kids don't have a little more shared experiences with the rest of society like we had growing up. And part of that is this example of what we're going to be talking about today, which are the best Christmas commercials of our generation, because we all watched those things.
Yes.
There were, 6 or 7 main channels on TV, if that. Most of the ones we're showing are actually before we probably got cable in our houses. And so everybody's watching these same things, and we can all reminisce and commiserate with them and reminisce about them because we all watch them together. I don't know that our kids have that.
No. And, you know, and it's interesting too, if you think about the business side of that, man, I can't imagine what it's like going from having 7 channels that you're selling advertisement, that you're buying advertisement space for, to having 130 channels to be like, oh gosh, what channel should we be on and at what time? And like, could you imagine like that transition from just over the air antenna to set top box, like for the industry,
No,
and
crazy.
like the content was changing too at the time, like it was starting to get like late 80s, early 90s, starting to get more edgy and stuff like that. And so that was crazy.
Yeah, it is. Well, we're going to look back on that time fondly tonight. So usually Brian and I like to be a little quirky when we're presenting some retro nostalgia flashbacks, some little, real forgotten gems, or things that are just kind of pulled out from the swamp that you didn't ever even see. And so when we were pitching the show tonight, we wanted to talk about some retro Christmas commercials. I was like, you know what? This year with 2020, we need just the good all-time classics, the feel-good stuff. So most of these should not be shockers to you. I hope that we have checked a few of what you would consider to be the all-time classic Christmas commercials off of your list. So let's talk a little bit about how we're going to run this show tonight. It's a little bit differently. We're running it as a little bit of a bracket challenge.
Yes. We have all right. Are you ready for this? Because if you were, follow us on social media, you got to get a taste of what was happening today. But basically what we're going to do is have the best. I click this. I don't know what's up with my mouse tonight. The best Christmas commercial at Wayback Attack. Oh no, you can't really see it that great. Here we go. All right, first we got Hershey Kisses versus the 7-Up. Then we got Campbell's Soup versus Honey Nut Cheerios. McDonald's brings it in against Folgers Coffee. And last but not least, the final matchup of the night. Well, I guess not the final matchup, but Coca-Cola versus Fruity Pebbles.
Now, Brian, what we did here is we seeded the top 8 Christmas commercials of all time as chosen by you and me.
Yes.
And so these may not represent all the best Christmas commercials, but these are our favorites for the night. We think that you'll like them. So we're going to go with the traditional seeding here of 8 top teams, and let's get right into it with our number 1 seed, Hershey Kisses.
Yay, I'm excited for Hershey Kisses.
That's going to be our shortest commercial of the night, but in one of our opinions anyway, it's the best commercial of the night.
Ooh.
Now, Brian, you seeded the teams. You ranked this as your number 1 pick. I had it in there. It's high. I don't know. It's number 1.
The reason I seeded it as number 1 is I think it's instantly the most recognizable for everybody. I think everybody has seen this commercial and everybody instantly knows what it is. Whereas some of these commercials, people will be like, oh, I do remember that commercial. But this commercial has been going on for so long that it's gotten a facelift. So,
right.
And it has been since its initial release, it's been every holiday season and it's been all over the place. So everybody knows that commercial.
Yeah.
So.
When I talked at the top of the show about when is it Christmas for you and seeing your Christmas commercial makes it feel like it's Christmas season. I feel like this is the one where I have to see this at least once every Christmas season.
Right.
And you kind of expect it, you anticipate it, and it delivers. It's so short, it's so cute, and it's just fun and festive. I love it.
We've got smack talk going on in the chat already. People saying it's not number 1.
That's what tonight is about. We're seeing which one goes number 1. So, we'll have to see how it fares up in the bracket as it goes head-to-head against some of these other top contenders. But Brian's feeling pretty strongly about it.
Yeah. Well, even though I picked the next commercial, I don't think that it stands a chance against the current top seed. So we're going to have to see what everybody else thinks about what it's going up against. You know, it's a classic commercial, and it's super cool because Cool Spot was huge. Cool Spot had multiple video games, okay? And across multiple video game systems. And he was a huge icon for a soda. And most sodas, like, think of another...
Buzz McKenzie. Oh, wait, that's beer.
That's beer. Give me another soda that has a mascot, like Cool Spot.
Yeah, you don't. But I will say, this was at a time period where there were a bunch of little cool mascots. You had the California Raisins.
Mm-hmm.
You had Yo Noid.
Mm-hmm.
You had Spot. I do remember this commercial, but it was not one that I was like, oh, this is an all-time classic. It got played a lot, and I really liked it. But, I mean, you know, it's pretty easy for me to decide.
You think so?
I think so.
All right. Well, then, Preston, who do you pick?
They are not number one seed for nothing. Let's go with Hershey Kisses.
All right, so the Hershey Kisses are taking it for this bracket. Hershey Kisses come out on top of 7UP. Epic music. All right. So coming up for our next matchup tonight is going to be the Campbell Soup commercial.
Wait, I'm curious if people who are listening or watching, if they just hear the name Campbell Soup, if they know what we're going to show. Because I would argue if I just said Hershey Kisses, you instantly know it's going to come up. What Campbell Soup ad are we going to show?
So I agree with you, because I don't think that you said what it was in the show notes, but I knew which Campbell. But there are multiple Campbell Soups holiday commercials. Yep. So someone says this one's going to be the winner. So some people must think they know what it is. So let's see if you know.
Nothing melts away the cold like a delicious hot bowl of Campbell's chicken noodle soup. Let it snow, let it snow. Campbell's makes everything.
So I'm sad to say that I actually had forgotten about this one until I actively was looking for one to fill out my picks. And then I was like, oh my gosh, of course. This is it. This one was so good because, like, it's hard to emote a feeling through a commercial. And this one does it. Like, it wraps a warm blanket around you. You feel that cold. Like, you grew up in Key West. So did you ever live in an environment where, like, it was frigid cold, like playing in the snow?
Yeah. Well, no, not playing in the snow. So I also lived, like, the furthest north I lived when I was a kid was Vestavia Hills. We lived in Birmingham for a year, or Vestavia Hills for 2 years. 2 years.
Okay.
There was snow sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. All right. I spent a portion of my childhood outside of the Windy City of Chicago. That lakefront snow and the wind, it is no joke. And you're a kid, so you're immune to a lot of the stuff. But playing in the snow, getting your hands so numb that you can't even bend or feel your fingers. And you go inside, and it's warm, and your mom has some Campbell soup for you. And, I mean, this just took me right back, dude. This is a very festive commercial, but also a very warm and just Christmassy feeling one, too.
I do want to point something out, though, that's pretty great. And it could just be the quality of the ad. But I feel like, you know, this was around the time that they were starting to use CG in commercials. And so let's see. Pause that. So look at this. He's just got a cloud on his head. What is that supposed to be? I know it's supposed to be snow melting.
They're like, let's give him some snow. We'll do it in post. We'll fix it in post.
It looks so bad. But yes, no, you know, I had family that lived in Iowa. So I know what it's like, because we went up there one year for snow. But, you know, sometimes I know, so this is going to sound crazy, and I'm not 100% sure if this is true or not. But when I was a kid and when we were living in Tampa, we won the lottery. but like not like won the lottery. We won like a couple $100, right? But we went one holiday season to North Carolina, and we talked about it in a recent episode when we talked about the Game Boy. How that was the year that I got my Game Boy. My little sister that year jumped off of the coffee table in this house that we were renting and cracked her head open on a brick fireplace. And so in the snow, we had to drive to the hospital to get her head sewn back together. But
oh my gosh,
you're talking about playing outside in the snow. We bought this sled while we were up there, and I was outside sledding while my family was inside being warm, and I got off my sled at the bottom of a hill, stepped in a rabbit hole, and my boot got stuck. So then I had to walk up this hill in just a sock in the snow, and I was like, my foot went numb. And by the time I got there, my mom heard me coming, and she opened the door, and the heat hit my foot, and it hurt so bad because it was almost frostbitten.
Yeah.
It was the worst. I mean,
that leg's gotta go.
I can't imagine being my parents on this holiday, because you got the kid cracking her head open on the fireplace, and then the boy almost getting his foot frozen off. Oh my! And this is on vacation, like so. But yeah, I know how that goes.
All right, I'll give it to you. All right, Campbell's Soup, good commercial. What's next?
All right, well, how does it stack up against its rival?
Who's there?
The taste of nuts and honey, Mr. Scrooge.
Better things to do.
But Mr. Scrooge, Honey Nut Cheerios, it's Christmas.
My customary gruel will suffice, thank you.
Yeah, but Honey Nut Cheerios blends golden honey and crunchy nuts.
I said, did you say honey and nuts?
Merry Christmas, Mr. Scrooge.
All right, Preston. So it's funny because before this show, we talked about tiebreakers and stuff like that, and what are we going to do? And I was like, there's no way that we're ever going to get on a spot where we're like, no, it's obviously this one. No, it's not. It's obviously this one. And I think that this might actually happen here. I feel like the Honey Nut Cheerios is the obvious winner here.
Golly.
I will say, you forgot about the Campbell's commercial.
I did. Throw back up the bracket.
Okay, so
let's look at how they were seated, okay? Oh, this was the close.
We got the bracket for Campbell's Soup seated number 4 and the Honey Nut Cheerios seated number 5.
These are some mid-card matchups, but we got some hot contenders here. Literally hot versus literally cold. Campbell's Soup at number 4 and Honey Nut Cheerios at number 5. We've got some comments in the box saying that they think the soup is the clear winner here.
Well,
all right. So
who am I to argue with?
Wait.
Okay.
We've got some tiebreakers here. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna go with Campbell's Soup. Brian, you have gone apparently with the Honey Nut Cheerios. So let's see. I asked my wife to do a bracket. And in case of a tie, we're going to let her vote be the tiebreaker.
It's crazy to me that I'm fighting for Cheerios because I don't like Cheerios. The only time I ever really ate a bunch of them, I threw up immediately afterwards, and so it's like this weird association. And so, but that commercial, man.
All right. So in this instant, Campbell's Soup advances.
Oh man.
You were in the minority, sir.
That's
I do
okay.
love some Honey Nut Cheerios, but I got to say Campbell's Soup, it is just so much more Christmassy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's no CG snow that's all real snow in the Honey Nut Cheerios commercial. So, all right, well, in that one, Campbell's Soup takes the win. Coming up next, we have McDonald's versus Folgers Coffee. McDonald's is the number 3 seed against the number 6 seed for Folgers Coffee.
McDonald's is a powerhouse. They are a top brand icon. Everybody knows Folgers too, but they're not the juggernaut that we know to be McDonald's.
That's right, Preston. Well, today we're gonna have to see how these two battle it out there on the gridiron because
Ryan's racking his brain for any sports terminology.
Oh, they're gonna be really hurting after this one.
It's a score down for everyone.
So, we were talking at one point about how holiday commercials are different than regular commercials. They're another beast because these companies are trying to pull the heartstrings of us, and sometimes it takes more than 30 seconds in order to make
That's
that
right.
happen. So, this McDonald's commercial is one of those commercials that is a long one.
Happy holidays.
All right. There is no argument that this is perfectly suited in our top 8 as an all-time classic. How many times do you think you saw this McDonald's commercial as a kid?
Man, so countless times, because that commercial fits every demographic, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, you can have it on Saturday morning cartoons. You can have it in the evening on primetime television, And so it was everywhere during the holidays.
Yeah, and I think it had some legs too, because I don't think anything pegged it necessarily exactly at Christmas, so they could probably do it in winter throughout. So
Yep.
that may be why I'm thinking of it. In case you're happening to be just listening to the show, for our podcast listeners, that is, of course, the classic ice skating Ronald McDonald with a cadre of young children and animated woodland creatures.
Yeah, it is a strange mixture. It must have just been the time, like you had Who Framed Roger Rabbit popularized mixing humans and cartoons together, and you saw it with the Honey Nut Cheerios commercial, and now the McDonald's commercial. I think that it was just probably that era. Like, it's this weird thing to have because there wasn't, like, most of those McDonald's commercials had puppets, like for like the Fry Guys or this and that, and so you would think that it would just be like they just wouldn't show animals.
Maybe their long-term Disney partnership kind of rubbed off on them, and they were going with a little Disney vibe. But that is, it's sweet and wholesome. It makes you, if you're the left out kid, you kind of identify with that. So you're glad that Ronald reaches down and chooses you to skate and crack the whip.
And everybody feels like that left out kid at some point,
Yeah,
so it touches everyone.
Heartwarming. Another one that with the snowy vibe kind of made you feel wintry and made you just warmed your heart in the Christmas season. So strong showing from McDonald's, the Playmakers.
Well, you say it warms your heart, but I'm looking for something that warms my gullet.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Everyone's asleep.
Shh, I know how to wake them up. Come on. And Mr. Bob.
Happy holidays from Folgers.
That was my pick. If I were seating these, I gave you the seating responsibility. If I were seating these, is my number one.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think so. That's crazy. Now the remake, sure, I get it.
No.
You get the crazy incest vibes.
No, we don't even talk about that. No.
I think they even went with like he was a soldier coming home from war or something like that in
I don't
the
know.
remake.
We don't acknowledge that at all. We're talking about this clean and cherished example before you. Mm-hmm. It just, in my family, it was always a time where we had, extended family come to visit, or we'd go travel to see extended family. So the family vibe was real strong, and so like it wasn't Christmas for me until I got to see my aunt or go visit my grandmother, or till we were all together. And so coming back and seeing family, and when my parents split up, I mean, not to get dark or anything, but like that, the vibe from that commercial, it's like, I want that.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, that one's a classic. That one played for years and years and years until they skipped a year, and then they screwed it up, like you said. So.
Well, they had to, like maybe it was getting long in the tooth at that point, and then they were like, all right, we really got to spice this up. Hey, how can we spice this up? Hey, John, what if him and his sister look lovingly at each other? It's like, okay,
Awkward.
all right, well, we're gonna need a year to be able to film that, so we get it just right.
I gotta clarify one thing. Do you think when you watched this as a kid, did you interpret that to be Christmas morning?
Yeah. Yeah, probably.
See, I did too, and part of me was like, wait, what parents just like let their kid wake up and make coffee in the morning? And I would be waking my parents up to be like, let's go open some presents, man. But I guess it's a different family.
I think my kids, they don't do it for me, but they do it for my ex-wife. The advent of Keurigs make it easier.
Okay.
And so you're not brewing a pot of coffee.
Yeah.
But I would have to agree. I think that the Folgers one is going to take it in this one.
Oh, all right. So we have 3 winners of 4 brackets so far, and that's going to put Folgers Coffee, the underdog, ahead of McDonald's.
Who knew that Folgers Coffee was going to take out the clown in this one, because he just topples everything that he touches, but they did it. So Folgers Coffee really ground out the competition, can't you say, Preston?
Folgers was definitely down to clown.
All right, well, coming up next, we got Coca-Cola versus Fruity Pebbles.
It's the sweet treat bracket, guys. Which sugary soft substance is going to destroy us? Could it be Coca-Cola or Fruity Pebbles?
Coca-Cola coming into this one pretty strong at a number 2 seed against Fruity Pebbles, the number 7 seed. So Fruity Pebbles has some real ground to make up with this one. But we're going to have to check it out with this commercial.
Merry Christmas.
Oh, that's not the right commercial. I mean, this commercial. All right, well, it's not really the best audio commercial. and there were some commercials that I was like, I'm going to pick this one, but then I was like, well, it's not going to work for audio. So, but that, of course, was the classic polar bear, the very first polar bear Coca-Cola commercial.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if that was the actual first one, because I couldn't remember. I knew Coca-Cola polar bears, but I couldn't search for exactly which one was the first one, because they had so many of them.
Yep.
I lose track of them, and I think that's the problem with this commercial is that you don't necessarily equate the Coca-Cola polar bears to that one commercial, because there were so many. So this one, while I think it was technologically advanced, this was early computer graphics. It looked great for the time being. Looks a little dated now. I don't think that it gives me the warm fuzzies of either this Christmas season or of nostalgia right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I personally like the other option in this one better. But I really thought Coke was going to take this because, I mean, look, maybe we're getting ahead of ourselves because we don't know how Fruity Pebbles is going to play out.
Yeah, we got to see how it plays.
But, you know, like, I thought, like, because that marketing campaign is so popular, like, you know, if you think about our friends, the Hayes, right? Like George Hay has his Coke room.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that it did not have any of the, well, actually, no, I think it did have a polar bear in it. I think he had a stuffed polar bear on something. But there's the polar bear pops. There's like, those polar bears are so ingrained in pop culture because of these marketing campaigns. And, you know, like you said, it's not the same commercial every year because they evolve it. It's telling a story about, you know, the plight of these polar bears. And like, the only thing that can whet their appetite is the wet goodness of Coke.
Yeah. You know, we're looking at a commercial solely on the single example.
Yes.
And I don't think this one single example had built into the myth and the storytelling, and you know, you didn't have a connection to the characters yet. Not necessarily polar bear related, but I'd say there's a better feeling Coke commercial, and some folks may know what I'm talking about. We don't have an example to show, but there's one where like it starts with a Coca-Cola truck driving, and it's got all these lights on it, and as it drives past, it lights up other houses and things. And then I think they show like the polar bears like out in the distance, and it's like the holidays are coming, and they are able to work into the always the real thing, the little Coca-Cola slogan. I feel like that is a better example of a Coca-Cola Christmas commercial, even though the polar bears are iconic. That one did it for me.
I don't think I've ever seen that commercial.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to add it as a bonus on our social media.
We'll save it for next year, and then we can see who's going to win next year. But
all right.
Well, you know, Coca-Cola doesn't sound like it's bringing its A game this time around, so we're going to see what Fruity Pebbles manages to do.
Yummy Fruity Pebbles in our bowls. Oh, here comes you know who. Yabba dabba fruit, delicious stew. Oh, I'm hungry. Santa, my pebbles! Your pebbles? 'Tis the season to be sharing, Fred. Happy holidays, pal.
Oh, Fred.
Fruity and Cocoa Pebbles cereals, part of this nutritious breakfast.
Do we even need to talk? That one is so good. Tell me you weren't singing along with it in your head already.
Oh, dude, like, and the cool thing about this commercial is it's one of those commercials that they updated, like as TVs got better and stuff, they kept doing it and kept doing it, and it's like one of those commercials that has stayed with us through the years because that is so good. You know, how do you feel? Last time we talked about this particular voice actor, I wanted to say E.E. Cummings, but that's not who it is. Who's Pooh and stuff? Who's Santa? Jim Cummings.
Yes.
So we
did this before.
I feel like he goes a little too Tigger towards the end, but you know, I think that his presence in the commercial really steps it up a notch.
Well, I was confused when I listened to it this year for the first time. I was like, is that the original voice of the Santa? Like, that's not like a redub?
I don't think so. That is the refresh of that commercial.
Yeah, that's the refresh. And
Yeah.
I wonder if the original Santa is the exact same voice. I could be wrong. I feel like it was different. But regardless of who the Santa is, the commercial is a banger.
It is. It is so good. And Fruity Pebbles is like one of the best cereals of all time. So
wait, no, it's
Yes.
not one of the best cereals of
yeah.
all time. What's great for this is, when do you ever see another Fruity Pebbles ad these days? You don't. This is their one and done for the year. they lay it all on the line and hope that people remember them for the nostalgia and for the Christmas season. And sadly, like, not even Fruity Pebbles. I mean, because at least Fruity Pebbles you can go buy in the store today. Those poor Flintstones people, like, kids these days, they don't even know who those guys are. But the commercial still rocks.
I thought you were going to say, yeah, you can buy Fruity Pebbles in the store, but Coke, where can you get that?
Nope.
Yeah, I think that, you know, probably most kids, it'd be interesting to ask my kids and be like, show them the box and be like, who is this? Because I don't think they've ever seen a Flintstones movie or cartoon or any of the live action ones.
We as kids were experiencing a rebirth like our kids are today of 80s properties.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Because we were going hard with Flintstones because they were doing Flintstones reruns, of course.
Mm-hmm.
They were doing specials.
Mm-hmm.
They were doing Flintstones Kids.
Yes.
Flintstones Vitamins.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
We got a Flintstones live action feature in the early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
So
and cartoon feature, the Jetsons meet the Flintstones.
And then they did a PSA drug ad for the Flintstone Kids.
Yep.
So it was hard and heavy Flintstones, and boy, did Post do a good job of hitching their saddle to that gravy train.
Oh yeah, and like it's crazy too because it wasn't just TV. Like the Flintstones Kids also had comic book series that I don't remember who made it, but I specifically remember. You know, like when you're a kid and you're on a road trip and you'd stop at a gas station and gas stations had the comics in like the 2 issues like for $2 or whatever. And I remember specifically there was almost always a Flintstones kid comic in those bags. So, but yeah, dude, Flintstones is where it's at. But it is interesting that they still put Flintstones on things even though there's no tie to anything.
Yeah. Oh well, it doesn't matter. We knew our teeth were going to rot one way or the other, but in this bracket, it's not going to be the sugary soda. It's going to be the sugary cereal because Fruity Pebbles takes it to the bank.
Fruity Pebbles. Oh, who saw that one? The number 7 seed taking it from the number 2 Coca-Cola.
What an upset.
Kind of like my tummy after mixing them together. So, coming in with the next bracket, we're going to have
our number 1 seed, Hershey Kisses, against our number 4 seed, Campbell's Soup.
Ooh. What do you think's going to happen here, Preston?
Well, I tell you what, the brackets are great. They're good for matchup. They have some surprises along the way, but I'm going to say that these are appropriately seeded, and it's not going to be a surprise here. I'm going to go with Hershey Kisses on this one.
Yeah. I'm going to also agree with that. For starters, you forgot about the Campbell's Soup commercial, but that Hershey Kisses commercial, man. Hey, you know what? It is so good. Just because it is so short, I'm just gonna throw it up here real quick.
Do it.
What you think about this right here? Here we go.
I dare you.
Oh wait, I don't want to use this one. Here we go. Ready? Oh no! I got click happy. We talk about the holidays being the time for the long commercials. That commercial, 15 seconds. In, out, boom.
Yeah, the magic. They just drop the magic right there and they go.
Yeah, it is crazy to me thinking about how short that commercial is. But, you know, that also gives Hershey's the ability to do a double whammy. Because
the chat, Brian, is rioting.
What? Wow. They are calling for Campbell's Soups. I can't believe it.
All right. Well,
No, because we agreed on it.
I know, man.
We're the rulers.
I feel bad. Let's see what my wife had to say about it. Oh, she also said Hershey's Kisses right there. Boom. Hershey's and Campbell's. Hershey's takes it. Don't look at the winner. But, all right. So, I'm sorry, guys. Look, you can play or hate all you want, but to be that tight, that succinct with the message, you good.
And you know what? What is even Campbell's Soup anymore?
Yeah.
Can you name one commercial for Campbell's Soup? I don't think so. All right. Well, if we have that bracket going.
Yep.
To. Uh-oh.
What could that be?
Going to Hershey's Kisses. Then that means that the next matchup between Folgers Coffee and Fruity Pebbles, the battle of the F's.
It's the breakfast brawl right here. Coffee or cereal, what do you have first?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is all part of a well-balanced breakfast.
Of course, I always start my day with a piping hot cup of not Folgers coffee. I get Cafe Bustelo.
Ooh, fancy. All right, so we have 2 huge icons here. I do think, if we're down to the final 4 we just listed, based on our wins, was Hershey Kisses, Campbell's Soup, Folgers Coffee, and Fruity Pebbles. I think those are a worthy final 4. I'm sorry we've already upset some folks, but
if it makes everyone feel better, I was the first one that got upset with Honey Nut Cheerios. Why is everybody hating on Honey Nut Cheerios? That's crazy.
Boo, Honey Nut Cheerios.
You know what? I'm glad Campbell's got knocked out of there, knocking out my boy.
All right, this is a tough one. Folgers coffee or Fruity Pebbles? Brian.
Oh man. I know where this is gonna go, just because I think that everyone's gonna want Folgers, but I feel like Fruity Pebbles is my win because it is a more fun commercial.
We got shouts from the chat of Peter.
It is a more fun and happy time, and to me, that's what the holidays are. You got people sneaking around trying to steal things. That's the holidays.
What? I will say, if I'm being objective here, if I'm thinking back towards my childhood, then the Fruity Pebbles one definitely makes me feel more like a kid again.
Yep.
That was one probably back then that I was certainly more enamored with, just because I watched the cartoons and stuff. But I'm going to go Folgers coffee on this one, man. I think it's an all-time classic. I think as often as they've played the Fruity Pebbles one, I do think there have been seasons where they haven't played that. I think they've played the Folgers one like every year. And even though we don't like the way it ended with the new one, they did extend it, right? Like it's an iconic commercial.
I like the remake. I think the remake's better than this one.
All right, well that's you. So are we at a standstill? Do we need a tiebreaker again? Are you Fruity Pebbles or are you Folgers coffee?
Let me look at something real quick. So what one over here? The Hershey's Kisses.
Number 1 seed. And then
you know, I'm fine with going Folgers coffee on this one.
Oh, Folgers coffee, the number 6 seed is it? Took out the number 7 seed. It was a close matchup. It really was. I'm glad to see it played out, but we've got a Rumble in the Jungle coming up.
The rumble in the jungle between Hershey's Kisses, the number 1 seed, right?
Yes.
Versus the number 6 seed, Folgers Coffee. Sometimes people like to say there's a hint of chocolate in their coffee with little notes of chocolate. But can those notes take out the king of chocolate, Hershey's himself?
Dude, you're getting into this. This is great. I don't have anything to compete with that level of energy right now. So we're just going to go look at these two. I think we weren't going to dwell on all the commercials again, but I think for the sake of the argument, I think for the final battle here, we're down to Hershey's Kisses versus Folgers. I think we got to see the Folgers coffee one more time, followed by those jingling bells.
All right. Well, let's take a peek.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Everyone's asleep.
Shh, I know how to wake 'em up. Come on.
Mr. Bob. Happy holidays from Folgers.
All right, so I'm gonna say some things.
I hope so. It's a podcast.
All right, so on further review for this commercial, I will say the acting is very good. Because like the mom, she's like, there's a part where she's like, oh, it's cold, like it's morning time, and like when she comes down the stairs, she's like, oh, like you could tell she's cold, but she's excited to see Peter.
Yes.
I think that's good. But would you wake up if you're asleep and someone makes coffee in your house? I don't care if it's your favorite coffee in the world. Is that going to wake you up, do you think?
I have woken up to the smell of coffee before.
Yeah.
It really.
Was it the coffee that woke you up, or did you wake up and like?
No, I think it's
really?
the smell. Yeah, it's kind of like waking up to smell smoke. I mean, your body's not used to that smell, and something is jarring in your nostrils, and it triggers something in your brain. And you're like, something's different. Now, I would much rather wake up to coffee than smoke, but it's the same principle here. So I can identify with that. I don't think it's too far-fetched. Like I said, the only far-fetched thing about that is that the little girl, if it were Christmas morning, would not be tearing through those presents or waking up mom and dad. She'd be hanging out with Peter, tamely making coffee. But that aside, I'm still reading some of these chat remarks about the Campbell soup. You guys need to drop it because if you think about it, the Campbell soup was not directly Christmassy. It was wintry. Wasn't Christmassy. Both of these final contenders are all Christmas.
They scream Christmas.
They do. They scream Christmas.
I had to roll back through this ad a little bit because I also like that this guy Peter. Hold on, let me pause this so we can get some good shots here. So I know this sucks for people if they're not watching it, but dude, he looks just like Jake Gyllenhaal.
When he has the mug covering half his face, sure.
This is also a weird frame here because with the mug meeting his lips, it kind of looks like his mouth goes all the way across his face instead of just being in the center. It's kind of like the Goldeneye. Have you ever seen the Goldeneye thing? So,
oh my word.
But yeah, the Jake Gyllenhaal thing really helps me out with this.
I'm really torn. I mean, legitimately here.
Look at this. This is the part where she's like, "I'm so cold."
Peter!
I'm cold, but oh my God, it's Peter. So, but anyways,
that's great.
All right, so that's the Folgers coffee commercial, right? But let's take one more quick sneak at the Hershey Kisses. All right.
It's elegant.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny.
Mm-hmm. It's at the end.
It's simple. It's refined.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you can package more in less. Brian?
I think it is a perfect. There's a reason that they still show it, right? That was money well spent by Hershey's to whatever ad agency they hired to make this. When it came out during a time that claymation was very popular, and so to tie that in with the ad, it fit the modern time that it came out, but it's still like we still watch the Rankin Bass holiday specials, right? Like claymation and stop motion animation is still super popular with the youth of America today. I mean, it's perfect.
Yeah, I'll say as much as I love the Folgers ad, and as much as it warms my heart to see it each year, as much as I love that little jingle, even though I wasn't a coffee drinker as a kid, even as a kid, I liked that commercial. I know we're looking at retro commercials, but I would say that if you watched the original Hershey's ad today, it loses nothing.
Right.
It holds up entirely, whereas the Folgers one feels dated.
Correct.
And on that alone, I am voting for Hershey's Kisses, #1 all-time best retro Christmas commercial.
Well, Preston, if anyone knows me, they know I like to be contrary.
No!
So I'm going, even though I was anti-Folgers commercial before, I'm going to have to go with the Folgers coffee commercial because they played with it again and it still holds true today. And you know what? When I was watching all these commercials, not necessarily these, but like watching holiday commercials to get ready for today's show, I noticed, man, the 70s and 80s were so classy. Like watching those commercials, everybody's just so fabulous looking. And like they, especially during the holidays, like the 70s were more fabulous than the 80s, but like everyone, like everything looks so fancy and comfortable and stuff like that. We really got away from that in the 90s. Like if this commercial aired first in the 90s, it wouldn't have been heartwarming. It would have been like, hey, drink my coffee. You know?
Right.
So and like people would have been like, it would have been like wow. You know?
Yeah, there's an earnestness to that commercial for sure. So they're saying that we should go to the chat for the tiebreaker, but they're still voting soup all the way. So I don't know if we should trust that. I'm going to trust my wife, my best friend, and she picked Folgers coffee.
Whoa, that's awesome.
So even though, and that's why we make a great couple, because we opposites attract. So I appreciate that vote. I respect the ruling. And even though I thought Hershey Kisses could take it all the way, the number 1 seed was upset by the number 6 seed, Folgers coffee.
That is crazy.
I can't believe it, folks. What a crazy tournament this has been. The number 1 seed being upset by Folgers coffee. Who could have seen that coming, Preston?
I don't know, it was a surprise under the tree, but not if you're Santa Claus. Santa knows, and he had his heart on Folgers coffee, so everybody can wake up refreshed and ready to enjoy Christmas morning. I will say that this has been a fun, festive way to enjoy the holiday, and not something that we've really planned that much in advance. But hey, it works.
Yeah, we got the idea from a listener or viewer.
Jedi John.
Yeah.
He has his own podcast called Arcade Repair Tips. Longtime friends, and I was messing around on Twitter over the weekend. I was ripping some VHS tapes. I was watching A Mom for Christmas, which was like a Disney Sunday night movie kind of thing, and I was pulling off some great commercials, and the Folgers one came up, and I saw the Folgers, and I said, Folgers, best Christmas commercial of all time. And then I was like, oh, but it's up there, I think, with Hershey Kisses. So those are like top 2 goats.
Yes.
And then he was like, you guys should do a bracket sometime. I was like, that works great.
I like that you are kind of a soothsayer, because you saw that commercial and you went, this is the best holiday commercial, and it turns out it actually is.
and I didn't even vote for it in the end. We got a request to play that commercial one more time.
Well, no, they don't want that commercial. They want the updated one. Unfortunately, I don't have it on here. But you know what? I will put it up. Not the updated one. I will do this. Here. Well, hold on. Let me pause this and see.
Just watching them pop up back and forth is enough for me.
Peter,
Mom.
Beat, Mom. All right, here we go.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Everyone's asleep. Shh,
I know how to wake 'em up. Come on.
Happy holidays from Folgers.
All right, third time's a charm. That was a great commercial.
Oh, Preston, can't you hear the crowd?
They love it.
They're going crazy
They
over
can't
them.
get enough of the coffee.
They love it. They're amped up on all that caffeine. They can't believe it. How great that commercial turned out.
So who knew that pairing March Madness with Christmas commercials would be such a fun time? I had no idea, but I had a great time. So I wanted to say that when we originally envisioned the show, we weren't necessarily thinking, well, Brian wasn't necessarily thinking best all time.
Mm-hmm.
And so he started down the route of just weird and random commercials, because that's kind of like, that's what we do for the most part anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So we actually have a whole bunch of those prepared and have recorded a bonus show that you guys can check out if you're a Patreon subscriber. So we have that special podcast that's going to launch very, very soon, and you can enjoy even more retro Christmas commercials that are a little a little different than these.
Oh yeah, and those commercials or that show also, there's some stuff in it that's going to tie back to this show too.
Oh yeah.
So if you want a little bit of behind the scenes stuff that's going on, maybe hop in there. Preston,
Yeah.
what levels do we have for the Patreon?
Look, we got a lot of different levels, but you can get in as low as like $2 or $3, I think, a month. You get a bonus show, you get bonus content, you get Discord access. It's going to be a crazy time. And why would you not want to listen to another hour of us rambling on like idiots?
Mm-hmm. Well, if you don't like my voice, like Preston just implied, because I'm an idiot, you could hit me up on Twitter at BeGrantham and just read the text. You don't even have to listen to me ramble. You can, usually I'm not even like tweeting things. I'm just like reposting and liking things. And so, or you can find the show at wayback_attack. Preston, where can people find you?
Yo, folks can find me on Twitter at SquaredStiff, and you can find the show at wayback_attack on Twitter. And like we mentioned, our Patreon, patreon.com/waybackattack. And then email us, give us some ideas for what you want to see for the next Christmas show.
Mm-hmm.
We've got one more show left in December.
Yeah.
So,
and it's right before Christmas.
It is. So we could have time to do another feel-good Christmas show. What are your ideas? Let us know through that email, waybackattackshow@gmail.com. It's been a great time hanging out with you, playing some Christmas. I am in the spirit. I hope you are as well. And we'll see you before Christmas.
Thanks. See ya.